extremely passionate about. And as Minister for Equalities, I'm actually lucky enough to be in a position where I can really make a difference. And in the last 18 months or so, since the coalition was formed, a great deal has been achieved. We've published the first ever government action plan for LGBT equality. We're putting in place regulations to allow civil partnerships on religious premises. And we have just announced that we will hold a public consultation in March to look at how we can make civil marriage available to same-sex couples. We're putting through legislation to delete men's convictions for consensual gay sex from their criminal records. And we're standing up for LGBT rights abroad. But while on some areas it is right that LGBT equality is dealt with together, we also do recognise that transgender people can also face distinct issues which actually need to be dealt with separately. And so, earlier this year, we set about engaging actively with the transgender community to find out from them what areas we as a government needed to focus on, where help was needed. And we launched a series of e-surveys to make sure that we reached individuals that we hadn't been successful in reaching before, because the trans community is quite difficult to meet. So the online approach was incredibly successful. And our first survey received nearly 1,300 responses, making it the biggest survey ever conducted within the transgender community in the United Kingdom. And I am proud to say that on the back of this work, we will shortly become the first ever government to publish an action plan specifically to advance transgender equality. Thank you, I am very proud of that work. Anyway, so a lot is taking place, but there are occasions when you're reminded of the limits of government. Real societal change and long-lasting change doesn't happen because a handful of ministers say it must happen, as much as I would like it to. It happens because everyone takes it on, and everyone out there works towards it. And this has not been proved more evident to me than through the work we're doing to tackle homophobia and transphobia in sport. Earlier this year, the government, in partnership with British Sport's 5 main national governing bodies, launched a new charter. And it calls on everyone with an interest or involvement in sport to unite in a common cause to rid the industry of discrimination. And I have to say the response to the campaign has been overwhelming. Over 2,000 national bodies, clubs, sports stars and ordinary members of the public have signed the charter so far and pledged, more than just signing, pledged their commitment to help actively kick homophobia and transphobia out of sport for good. We've had rugby league players running around the pitch in shirts with the words homophobia, tackle it, written in bold, big bold letters across the front. And there is something about seeing big burly rugby players carrying that message that is good. And we've had the backing of sports heavyweights like rugby player Gareth Thomas and multiple Wimbledon champions like Martina Navratilova and Billie Jean King. And of course, former England rugby union player Ben Cohen, who shows quite clearly that you don't need to be gay to stand up and make a difference. And we've had professional football clubs literally climbing over each other, not fast enough in my opinion, but climbing over each other to become the first to sign up to this cause. But I'm pleased to say Wycombe Wanderers got there first. Charlton Athletic, Dagenham, Redbridge, Huddersfield City, Bradford City, Brighton Hove and Albion, and today, Nottingham County. And where you lead, I hope all the rest will follow, because I think it was hardest to get that first club to sign up, so I say thank you to Wycombe Wanderers. The ball has started rolling, and we're not going to stop till every football club in this country has signed up. And yes, indeed, amen. And what all this is doing is sending an extremely powerful message out into the public domain. And it's saying to sports in general, and everyone out there, that there is no room for hate of any kind anywhere in this country. And it's saying to every young person who struggles to come out that who they are is never something that they should have to feel ashamed about. And it's saying to other young people through the sports they love and the players they admire that homophobic and transphobic bullying is not cool, it's not acceptable, and that everyone has to make an effort to stamp it out. So a huge thank you, really, again, to all of you who have played such an important role in getting us to where we have gotten so far. Unfortunately, we can't pat ourselves on the back for a job well done just yet. There certainly are not 3,500 straight football players in the league. And I have to say that when I heard Sepp Blatter's most recent remarks, I was entirely horrified. I thought that man should go when he said women should wear shorter shorts and tighter shirts to attract an audience. I thought he should go when he suggested that homosexual football players should simply refrain while they were in Qatar. And yet again, when he said what he said about there being no racism in sport. It is quite extraordinary to me and to the British government that such a man remains in such a position to this day. But we live in hope that at some point he will no longer have that position, because he certainly, in my view, does not deserve it. And beyond the one man, far more widely, language and behaviour that isn't acceptable in the playground or in the workplace continues to be commonplace on the pitch, in the dressing rooms and in the stands. And it has and needs to end. So I want to see everyone signing up to our Charter for Action. Has everyone in this room signed up? I won't make you put your hands up if you haven't. But when you go home, just click on it, go to it. It's really easy. Because it's not just a numbers thing, it is a qualitative thing too, but really, if we in this room don't sign up, how can I get the rest of the world to sign up to it? And I want to see more sportsmen and sportswomen saying that homophobia and transphobia have no place in our sport. I want to see more local teams saying LGBT players are welcome to join their club. I want to see more fans and spectators saying we will not tolerate abusive language at our matches. And while it's fantastic that we've got football clubs like Wycombe Wanderers and others on board, I want to see more football clubs leading the way. We've seen in this country through campaigns such as Kick It Out and Show Racism the red card, just how effective football can be in challenging discrimination head on. And I'm pleased to say that the remit of Kick It Out has been widened now to cover the LGBT agenda. Recognising that football, as our national sport, can have a far-reaching influence, Jeremy Hunt, the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, has now written to football authorities urging them to take the lead and organise a high-profile campaign to tackle homophobia and transphobia in football. And I am delighted to say that we have received positive indications from them that action in this area is being taken seriously and carefully considered. And obviously, I look forward to more than being taken seriously and being carefully considered. I look forward to hearing more from the footballing family in the coming weeks as to what action they are actually going to take. Now, the government will, of course, continue to push for change to happen, not just in football, but right across the board. But what I want to really stress to you today is that we can't do it on our own. So, many of you in this room have helped us to achieve great things with our campaign so far. We need you to put your foot down even harder on the pedal and help us continue the momentum that has grown, make the case across the whole of the sporting industry. And with 2012 coming up next year, we do have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a phenomenal impact. And my ambition is no less than to make tackling homophobia and transphobia in sport actually part of the Olympic legacy. LGBT History Month next February gives us the platform we need to really get the message out there through local communities and schools and colleges and places of work. So if you haven't already taken a look at the LGBT History Month website, please do. You'll find a wealth of resources and promotional tools. Working together, sharing best practice, encouraging one another, we will be successful in making sport free of homophobic and transphobic bullying, or homophobia and transphobia in its entirety.